Hi, it's Colleen and welcome to the All Things Handmade video hop. Today I'm going to case my own card using the 3 changes rule and this color palette. Let's get started. So this is a card I made for the blog hop for the new release, and this is the card that I am going to case. We're going to change 3 things about it, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, let me introduce you to Garden Delights. This is a new stamp set from the release. It is a 6x8 stamp set, and it's a layered floral. Very beautiful. This is a layering guide that Altenew provides for their layered stamps, and it shows you step by step how to layer your flowers, your leaves, and everything. And I think it's a very helpful tool. They also include some other information, such as these pre-made card panels that you can grab in a hurry, and also even color ideas for those of you that need some inspiration and ways to compose your card. It's a wonderful tool that Altenew provides with their stamp sets. Now let's start with the first change. Change your background. We're going to take that original card I showed you and we're going to change up the background. What we're going to do is we're going to do some dry embossing with this folder called Floating Foliage. So in the other card, the background was just a stamped background with foliage. Now I'm going to change it up and I'm going to use an embossing folder, and I'm going to do some direct to folder inking with fresh lemon using the color palette that I just showed you a few minutes ago. Yellow was in that color palette. So I'm just inking up one side. This is the debossed side that I am inking up, and then I'm going to place my card panel 5.5 by 4.25 inside of it and run it through my die cut machine and wait until you see what it looks like. I love this technique. Here we go. Ta-da! Isn't it beautiful? But we're not done with this. I'm going to add some antique gold pigment ink from Altenew because I just want those leaves to stand out just a little bit more in the background. Honestly, you could leave this alone just as it is. It's so beautiful, but we're going to do more to this. So our background is done now. You can see how there's similarities, but I've changed it up completely. Now we're going to go into stamping and the second change we're going to make. So we're going to stamp our layers, and now we're going to change the color palette. And I'm going to show you once again the color palette we're going to use. These are the 5 colors I'm going to focus on today. So I'm starting with the first layer, which is the outer part of the flowers. There are 2 different flowers, and I'm using grapevine ink. It's a darker ink, and I thought I would use that rather than the classic black ink. So I'm going to keep adding all of my layers to my stamp. So I'm doing 2 large flowers and 1 small flower. I like to do things in odd numbers. I just feel like it pleases the eye. So I'm going to do 3 flowers and then a bunch of leaves. Now I'm going to do the second layer with fresh lemon ink. So the second layer is pretty easy to set up. You see that I have my layering guide sitting right next to me to help me know how to set it up. Now I'm going in with the third layer and I'm using fuchsia ink. Watch the color you get when you add that pink ink over the yellow ink. Isn't that cool? It's like you get a corally red color, and I just love that. So I'm continuing to go in and build my ink colors, going back in with grapevine ink. Again, I'm focusing on that color palette that I showed you earlier to inspire me here. And I'm just going to kind of finish up the rest of the flowers. Working on the stamens, I believe it's called now, and I decided to use just green ink because I thought that that green ink would really pull out the ink in the leaves. So I just like to have a little bit more than one spot where you have the color. So we're almost done with the flowers, and we're almost done with changing the second item. Isn't it beautiful? Now let's change the third thing, which is the layout of the card. So when you look at the layout of the first card, I just want to change it up a little bit and make the layout my own. So I went in and I had finished the leaves behind the scenes, and now I'm going in with golden dots washi tape and placing it over some black cardstock because I'm going to die cut this into a circle and kind of create a little bit of a liaison, I guess you could call it, between the background and the flowers so that the flowers really pop off the page. And you'll see what I mean here as I start to put my card together. I've got all my pieces set up, and now I'm ready to start putting it together. And while I'm putting it together, I'm going to talk a little bit more about casing a card. You can practice casing your own card, or if you are inspired by somebody else's card, you can case their card. But the rule would be keep 3 things that you like, but change 3 things to make the card your own so that you aren't completely copying someone else's beautiful work and you're just making this your own. So take the inspiration that you find from a card and think of 3 things that you could change to make that card work for you. And I hope that the 3 change rule will really help you if you see a card that you absolutely love and you want to duplicate, but you want it to be yours. You want to own it. You put the work into it, right? So here's the card. It's completely finished with all the little flowers and leaves, and I'm going to show you the original card so you can see how different they are. So all I did was take the inspiration from my original card, the background, the flowers, and the composition, and I just changed a few things, and the cards look completely different using that same Garden Delight stamp set. Beautiful. I'm so happy you joined me today. Remember to hit up everybody on this video hop. We have prizes for you. All of the people listed on the hop are in my description box, as well as a description of all the products I used today.